Okay, I just had an epiphany. So I heard that children are falling behind with reading, and it worries me because reading is very essential to navigate through life, especially since we live in what used to be called the information age. It's important to learn how to read. I know that you can use your voice to write with talk to text and visual social media content is more appealing than writing, but reading is essential. And if you are having trouble reading and you're falling behind and you want to improve on your reading skills, one of the things that helped me read better in school was when our class read the same book out loud to each other. As the teacher was reading the words, I could follow along in the book. It helps me recognize the spoken word and the visual word. And I heard that kids are being taught how to read differently than what I learned. The way I was taught how to read is by reading each word, every single word, which is slower. It does make me get through a book a little slower. And I also have dyslexia, so sometimes I have to read a page multiple times because my reading comprehension isn't as good as everybody else. But, the payoff with that is I can look at the world differently and I can understand how things work forward and backwards, up and down, left to right. And so when I'm able to share that information, I'm able to answer all the questions and explain it in simple terms. The book I am going to be reading is this, The Body Keeps Score. Since it's a book about trauma, there are going to be traumatic topics discussed, but it goes into what trauma is, how people get it. It also covers like the scientific perspective as well. Like they present cases and test results and things like that. And at the end of the book, it teaches you how to handle your trauma in various ways, which includes physical activity and even theater. So I feel like this is a very good time to read this book, especially for me personally, because I'm still healing my trauma, and luckily I've been able to get my medication and it's helping, but I need to take it a step further. So, and I think this little reading project will not only help me, but it will help other people as well. Just with the subject matter and the topic, it will also help you go to sleep too. Like the whole reason why I'm making this book reading series is to help people fall asleep, because sometimes I listen to audiobooks to help me fall asleep, and I just want to pass it on and also like make the books that I'm interested available for people. And I also want to open the room for discussion, which is why I do it on Twitch. So if you do go to my Twitch readings, you are more than welcome to ask questions and stuff like that. I do periodically comment on what I'm reading because I have ADHD, and you will see how why it takes me a long time to get through a book, because as I'm reading, I'm always asking questions. And sometimes when I'm reading to myself in my head, I'll ask a question, start to ponder on it, and while I'm pondering, thinking about that thing, I'm reading this, but I'm not retaining any information. And then by the time I realize that I didn't retain any information, I have to go back and reread what I read. If you're like a person who studies people who have ADHD, or you have ADHD as well, like maybe the video series will be helpful too, to see how like our brain works, and maybe make you feel less alone if you feel like a weirdo because it takes you forever to get through a book because you get distracted by every sentence and you overthink things. I feel like I have read this book in college, but I'm not sure. It was copyrighted in 2014. Oop. Oh man, my battery died. My light died. I remember wanting to read this. It's a New York Times bestseller. Aside from like maybe the medical terms, I think this would be like a good book. And even if like if you're having trouble reading, just please get this book and follow along with me as I'm reading. And I think that will help you with your reading too, because then you'll be able to recognize the words and sound it out on your own, and then you can read better on your own. I feel like this is going to do more than just heal me if it really takes off. And after this book, I'm going to read a nonfiction book, make it more fun. I want to alternate between a fiction book and a nonfiction book. So something educational, then something fun. Because I like to do both. And when I like to do both, I like to alternate. Anyways, I'm gonna go. Bye.